Hey there, 8th graders. Welcome to today's Explainer. I am literally so excited to be with you today because we're talking about one of the absolute ultimate superpowers in learning, taking the steering wheel of your own reading. We're going to look at how to read for actual meaning, and specifically, how to recognize when your comprehension completely breaks down. This isn't just about staring at words on a page. It's about becoming an active, alert, and totally unstoppable learner. Okay, let's dive right in.
So I want you to be totally honest with me for a second. Have you ever just stared at a page in your textbook? Your eyes are moving across the lines for what feels like 5 solid minutes, and then you get to the bottom and realize, wait, my brain was completely turned off? You absorbed absolutely nothing? Well, guess what? You're not alone. That's just the reality of reading sometimes. We have literally all been there. But here's the thing. What separates a struggling reader from a truly expert reader isn't that they never get confused. No way. It's what they do the exact second they realize they've zoned out.
And that actually brings us to the whole foundation of our lesson today, found right here in Scripture. Proverbs 1:5 tells us the wise listen and add to their learning. I really want you to think about that word listen. Truly smart, wise readers aren't the ones who just miraculously understand every single word on the first try. They're the ones who listen to their own confusion. They pay attention when their brain goes, uh-oh, wait a minute, I'm lost. They stop, they listen, and then they add to their learning by figuring out exactly how to fix it.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with wisdom and reading roadblocks, move into spotting the red flags, then open up your fix-up toolkit, spend a little time putting strategies to work, and finally, we'll wrap up with the godly learner's mind. All right, starting off with Section 1, wisdom and reading roadblocks, and why self-monitoring actually matters. Here is a truth you absolutely need to write down. Everyone, and I mean everyone, hits confusing parts in a text. It could be some crazy unfamiliar vocabulary word, a sudden jump in a story's timeline, or just a really dense scientific explanation. But if you just push through without noticing, like if you keep reading those words while your brain is basically asleep, you completely miss the meaning. You lose your motivation, and you end up making totally preventable mistakes on your assignments. But catching your own confusion early, man, that is a massive strength. It protects your comprehension, it shows you are in complete control of your learning, because the earlier you spot a breakdown, the easier it is to repair.
Moving on to Section 2, spotting the red flags, or as I like to call it, the dashboard warning lights.
Think of your brain kind of like a car engine. When something goes wrong in a car, a little red light flashes on the dashboard, right? It warns the driver. Well, when you're reading, you have physiological and mental warning lights too. Here are the common red flags you gotta watch out for. Number 1, you find yourself rereading the exact same line over and over again. 2, characters or facts just start blurring together in your mind. 3, if you pause at the end of a paragraph, you have a complete inability to summarize what just happened. And finally, and this is a big one, your inner reading voice goes totally silent. You know that little voice in your head that reacts to the story. Yeah, when it goes quiet, your engine has stalled. I want you to act like a detective here. The literal moment one of these flags pops up, your job is to hit the brakes and pause. Section 3, your fix-up toolkit, naming and fixing the problem. So here's a quick cheat sheet for exactly what to do when you stall out. You're the mechanic now, and you need to pull the right tool from your toolkit. Let's look at the options. Say a red flag popped up because of a vocabulary gap. Your action plan is to use context clues from the surrounding sentences, or honestly, just do a quick dictionary lookup. Is the problem a lost timeline, where you have literally no idea when things are happening? Your fix is to scan the text specifically for time markers. Or are you dealing with idea overload, where the text is just way too thick? Your strategy there is to chunk the text into smaller pieces and paraphrase each one. And remember, expert reading requires flexibility. If you try quick fix and it doesn't work, don't sweat it. Just grab another tool and try again. All right, Section 4, putting strategies to work, the road test. It's time for a live road test. We're going to look at a few mini stories of triumph here. Example 1, the vocabulary jam. Imagine you're reading a science text and suddenly your red flag goes up because the word photosynthesis completely derails the whole paragraph. You stop. You name the problem. Okay, this is an unknown academic term, vocabulary gap, so you use your toolkit. You look at the nearby explanation in the text or maybe flip to the glossary. Once you define that term as the way plants make food from sunlight, boom, the roadblock is cleared instantly. Suddenly the whole cause and effect chain makes perfect sense. You didn't just skip the word, you totally conquered it.
Example 2 is the timeline tangle. And this is brilliant because it illustrates how a super simple fix can save an entire chapter. Your red flag goes up and you're thinking, wait, are we in a flashback right now? What is going on? You name the problem.
time shift confusion. You reach into your toolkit, skin back over the page, and start looking for time signal words. You spot the phrases years earlier, then a little later, that morning, and finally, now. By just noting those 3 little markers, you put the plot right back in order in your head. The timeline tangle is untied, and you can keep reading smoothly.
Example 3, processing overload. Your red flag is that you've just read this massive, winding sentence with a million clauses, and your inner voice has gone completely silent. You name it idea overload. So, you pull out your chunking tool. Step 1, methodically break that massive sentence down into smaller, individual statements. Step 2, paraphrase each chunk in your own words. Just translate it into normal, everyday 8th grade language. Step 3, restitch those simple meanings back together. By breaking it apart and rebuilding it like a giant puzzle, the meaning becomes crystal clear. You've officially defeated the overload.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is application. This isn't just theory, this is how you read from now on. For your homework this week, you are taking a real-world road test to practice these very specific academic skills. While you read, you're going to note 2 red flags you experience and label the problem. You'll write a quick 3-line summary of a paragraph that initially confused you. You'll hunt down and mark a timeline signal word. You'll take one really dense, overloaded sentence and rewrite it into a few simpler ones. And finally, I want you to reflect and list 3 of your own personal warning signs that tell your brain, hey, it's time to slow down.
Finally, Section 5, the godly learner's mind and finding wisdom beyond the page.
We've talked a ton about the mechanics of reading, but now we really need to explore the deep spiritual why behind sharpening our academic minds. Romans 8:6-7 says, "For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace." When we talk about training your mind, catching your mistakes, and growing in wisdom, it goes so far beyond just passing a reading test. Keeping our growing, learning minds centered on God and His truth, that's what actually leads to life and peace. True academic success isn't just about reading faster. It's about what you do with the incredible mind God gave you.
And this brings us right to the core of our philosophy here at HeroesMart Academy. Education absolutely must be intertwined with biblical morality. Why? Because quite frankly, education without morality can actually hurt you and those around you. Just being smart isn't enough on its own. Your knowledge and your intelligence should be tools that help you make wise, God-honoring choices rather than simply making you more capable of doing whatever you want. We pursue academic excellence, like learning to perfectly monitor our reading comprehension so that we can become truly wise. We keep our minds centered on God, truth, wisdom, and righteous choices.
So, 8th graders, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to really ponder as you tackle your reading this week. When you strengthen your reading skills, you're strengthening your mind. But will you use your newly acquired independence and knowledge today to simply be capable, or will you use it to make wise, God-honoring choices? Take the steering wheel, listen to your confusion, and use your brilliant growing minds to build a house of wisdom. Have an absolutely great week of reading, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.